Hello and welcome to my review of the Colourpop Sailor Moon Round 2 collection. So when it came out, I did review the Round 1 collection. I'm pretty sure I did the whole collection, but I might have only done the eyeshadow palette. Honestly, I can't remember. The first collection really only focused on Sailor Moon herself, but the second collection has all of the Sailor Guardians on it. I'll be honest, I have already looked inside the palette just because whenever I get things in the mail, I always check, especially things like eyeshadow palettes, just to make sure nothing came smashed. So I have seen the palette already, but I've not played with it yet. So here it is. I am a huge fan of Colourpop's eyeshadow formula. However, I've noticed some of their collab palettes recently have been kind of hit or miss, but I loved the formula in the first Sailor Moon palette, and I hope that this palette is going to be of similar quality. So let's get right to it, swatching the shades. The first one is Twinkles. Now, I believe this is a glitter shade. Yeah, it feels kind of like that kind of metallic-y, kind of the bigger glitter chunks. I know Colourpop now has the Glitterily Obsessed, like the pot glitters that are even larger pieces of kind of like craft glitter, but these are one step below that, where on camera it still looks like a shadow even though it's mostly glitter particles, whereas in their Glitterily Obsessed, the pot glitters, you can tell even just looking on camera that those are definitely glitter particles. Whereas on camera, these glitter particles still come off as a shadow. Normally, especially with Colourpop, since I have such a big collection from them, is when I would take out one of the Glitterily Obsessed and swatch it right next to it for comparison. But the Glitterily Obsessed pots are the only product I would not do that with, just because the glitter particles are so big and they get everywhere. I know the moment I would try to wash it off my hand, instant regret. The glitter would just go everywhere. Maybe after I film this video, I'll film a separate insert of me swatching the glitter shades from the Sailor Moon palette with one of the Glitterily Obsessed pots that I have, just so there's no cross-contaminations. I'm swatching everything. That was a long talk for just the first shadow in the palette. Next is called Save the World, which I think actually sometimes Colourpop repeats their shade names, and I think there is also a shade called Save the World in the Powerpuff Girls palette. I was wrong. It's actually a blush shade called Saving the World. Alrighty, the third shade is called Schoolgirl. It's really funny. So Save the World, to me in the pan, looks more of like a taupe shade. Like it looks almost brown in the pan. But on my skin tone, it comes off as like a more pink shade. Honestly, it's probably because of my skin tone. The next shade is called So Cosmic. That shade came out so sheer on me, you can barely see it on camera. It's one of those duochromes with a brown base, and I think it's just because the brown base is so close to my skin tone, it's just blending in. I'd be curious to see how that shade performs on my eyes, built up and then maybe with like some glitter glue. Alrighty, first shade on the second row is called Secret Powers. This is kind of like a pastel, like lavender periwinkle purple, so I'm not gonna judge how strong it is based on just the swatch. Pastels on eyeshadows for me are very hit and miss, so be curious to see what kind of look I'm gonna try to come up with once we get to that. Alright, next shade is called Friends Forever. Ooh, that's nice. It's one of the duochromes. In the pan, I mostly see the pink side of the shift, but on my hand and also on camera, I'm mostly getting the blue part of it. Alrighty, next shade is called Starlight. Ooh, this feels like another glitter. Ooh. Alrighty, so the first glitter was a gold, and now we have a purple glitter with blue flecks. Although honestly, the camera isn't really doing justice. I'm getting a lot of white from the camera when I'm actually looking at it in person. Well, there's some white, but not as much as what the camera is showing me. This last shade in the second row is called Aqua. Honestly, this is the shade I was looking forward to the most. I really don't have a like turquoisey shade like this. Probably the closest one I could think of is one of the Disney Princess Super Shock shadows. I can't remember which one. But yeah, this is a nice buttery shimmer that I'm used to seeing from Colourpop, or at least it's the formula I prefer from them. Alright, the next shade is called Her Destiny. I knew I had to buy this collection when I saw how much purple there was. I am very much a purple person. Purple is by far like my favorite color. Alrighty, next one is gonna be Always There. Ooh. Speaking of liking purple, this shade in the pan looked much darker than what I'm getting in the swatch, and you see the purple tones a lot more. Honestly, looking at the shade in the pan, I thought this was going to be like a brown metallic. Second to last shade is called Girl Power. Let's use the right hand this time. Colourpop's darker mattes never really swatch well, so I'm not gonna judge a shade's performance based off of a patchy swatch, especially if it's a dark matte. And the final shade is called Starry Sky. When I first got into makeup, I was super into blues like this. I would just wear nothing but this all over my lid. And that was the palette. I am super excited to get to use that today. But first, I think I want to swatch everything else in this collection. Think I'm gonna try the two blushes. I have both of the blushes from the previous collection. I can't remember if they're here with me in New York or they're still in San Francisco. Actually, no, they should be here with me in New York. So hopefully I'll be able to do some comparison swatches. So this first one is Moon Kingdom. Honestly, it's really smart to do a purple blush like this. People love purple blush. I have the old, the Fenty Creme purple blush that I really love. I haven't tried the new one yet. I know they came out with a new one, but I think this one has some shimmer in it. Let me give it a swatch. Oh yeah. Oh my god, that's almost like an eyeshadow. I definitely want to play with this. I'm really curious to see what this would look like diffused with a brush. The second blush is called Moonlight, and it has Artemis on the front. I'm pretty sure the original collection only had Luna, and this is very different. Honestly, I'm not even sure if it's really worth it to do comparison swatches of the original blushes, because those were more like bright pink, bright coral, and these are just so different. I think it was really smart that Colourpop waited a couple years between rounds of Sailor Moon collections so that they could basically wait for the makeup trends to change. And so now you go from like, yeah, these like really pinky blushes from the first collection to a purple and then a really light pink. I think on my skin tone, this might even be like a highlighter. Curious. Oh yeah, I am so dumb. I am looking at the back of the box now. It is a highlighter. So that makes a lot more sense. Although not gonna lie, for the purple one, I do kind of want to go a little crazy and diffuse it on my cheeks as a blush. Now moving on to the cream gel liners. This first one is called Azabu-Juban. Okay, look. It's been several years since I've rewatched the entire Sailor Moon anime. I still haven't watched the remake Sailor Moon Crystal yet. Maybe it's a reference to the remake? I remember there were a couple of names in like the Powerpuff Girls collection that were references to the remake that I didn't understand. So maybe it's the same with Sailor Moon? I'm not sure. Even then, it could be a reference to the original series and I just don't remember. But here's the liner itself. Like I said, it's very pleasing to a purple person like me. It's very interesting for this collection. They're leading on these, yeah, more medium, still kind of pastel, still kind of a white-based purples. Although I'm glad they're using the new Colourpop BFF gel liner formula as opposed to the old one. If you've been on my channel for a long time, you know I struggled with the original one. It broke on camera multiple times. I think it was either my first or second brown eyeliner ever. I loved it, but it was so soft, it was just constantly breaking on me. Alrighty, the next shade is called Crystal Tokyo. Now that's definitely a phrase I would associate with Sailor Moon. And it's a blue. Sort of like that fun aquamarine color I swatched in the palette. Ooh, and it's got that kind of same gold metallic shift to it. That's cool. Okay, the next product in this collection is probably the thing I'm like the most excited for. It's the So Dewy face gloss. I think when they first came out with the original version, it went like viral or something, and now this is a new color for the collection. So in terms of the formulas from Colourpop, I think this is the only product I've never tried before. If I can ever get it open. I had to actually like stand up from my bed and twist it open, like really get that elbow grease in there. So this is what it looks like. I think there's a little seal on top. Let me just swatch what's on the cap here. Ooh, wow, it is really like gloopy. Ooh. I really like the iridescent shimmer of the product, but the fact that it's so thick and even just touching the cap took off so much product. I'm curious how easy this is going to be to control. I was cleaning up some of the leftover face gloss off of my hand, and it does leave some residual stickiness. Alrighty, last but not least, we have both of the lip duos. The first lip duo is called Heroines, and it's got the transformation sequences on the side of the packaging. I think that's so cool. Each lip duo comes with a ultra blotted lip and the ultra lip gloss. I'll start with the blotted lip first. The first one is called Sailor Star. And not gonna lie, this color in particular had me a little worried just because I'm not sure how like such a bright pink is gonna play on my lips. I feel like on camera they look okay on me, but in person I just feel like pinks and magentas don't play super well on my skin tone. And then the lip gloss in this duo is called Pretty Guardian, which I'm pretty sure was the name of the first Sailor Moon Colourpop palette. Wow, it's actually been a long time since I've purchased the ultra glossy lip, and this has a really strong cake smell. Like even just having the doe foot like a couple inches away from my face, I can still smell it. As far as I'm aware, Colourpop hasn't changed their ultra glossy lip formula within the past like 5 years or so. But yeah, that was a lot stronger of a smell than what I'm used to. But the actual shade itself looks really pretty. I don't think the camera does it justice, but there's like a bunch of different colored sparkly flecks in here. The second lip duo is called Celestial Powers, and the ultra blotted lip color is called Sailor Fuku. You know, now that I think of it, maybe the name of the eyeliner I didn't understand was one of the Japanese names for something. I'm awful and have only watched Sailor Moon's dubs. I've never watched the sub, so maybe it's just something I'm not familiar with. Alrighty, there's that shade blotted out onto my hand. This kind of color is much more up my alley. This looks more like something I would wear every day. Now onto the gloss shade. This gloss is called Transformation. I'm not sure if the glosses were intended to be layered on top of the blotted lips. With the first duo, it makes sense, but the second duo, the flecks in the gloss are like green, like straight green. Not this kind of like light teal color that you see in the case, but when you actually apply it onto the hand, it's like more of a lime green. And I just don't know how well that would look on top of a brown blotted lip. I don't know, maybe I should try it. Alrighty, now that I'm done swatching everything, it's time for the fun part. It's time for the makeup look. So I just finished applying some Fenty eyeshadow primer, and now I'm gonna go into the palette. I've been doing a lot of all shimmer looks recently, so I think maybe I'm gonna try and play with some of these mattes. I think I'm gonna start first with Secret Powers. Alrighty, the camera is just barely picking it up, but I just created a very soft layer of pastel around the outer lid. And now I'm gonna go into the inner lid with some Schoolgirl. Alrighty, now I'm gonna deepen the inner part of my outer crease with Her Destiny. Alrighty, and now I'm having a little bit of that problem I tend to have with the warmer pastels, especially reds and pinks, where I kind of look like I've been punched in the eye, but as soon as my camera refocuses, I'm gonna fix that. I'm just gonna make sure none of this glitter is too close to like that inner area that's basically just the start of the inside of my eye. I know there's always a risk with glitter, but it was kind of scary having glitter just hanging right there, right before the inside of my eye starts. Okay, I was really tempted to cover all the mattes with a layer of Friends Forever, but I think I really want to try the face gloss and see how that shines on its own without having a shimmer between the gloss and the mattes. I'm gonna use a cream brush for this. Wish me luck. Alrighty, it was a little hard to control, but I think the actual like gloss finish looks really nice. The shimmer or iridescent aspect of it is a lot more subtle once it's been sheared out onto my eyes as opposed to how concentrated it looks in the pot. I definitely could have added that shimmer on top of the matte shadows, and I think I still would have been able to get the same effect with the gloss. It definitely feels like there's something kind of extra, something kind of heavier on my eyes than there normally is. I don't know, I'm gonna have to try to wear this around and also practice with it a little bit more to get the application right, but so far, it's interesting. Now that I'm thinking of it though, maybe I should have done the eyeliners first before I did the face gloss, because now I'm not sure how the eyeliners are going to perform on top of the face gloss. But you know what? Let's try it anyway. I'm gonna do the purple one. Uh-oh. Yeah, the eyeliner is not showing up at all on top of the face gloss. It's basically just like sliding off. Oh well, hopefully I'll be able to try the eyeliners on my eyes soon, maybe for like a video on TikTok or something. But let me get my mascara and my base makeup on, and then we can move on to the other products. I'm only just realizing now I should have gone with like a brown mascara for this eye look. Oh well. I just switched to my winter shade of concealer. I can't believe I'm saying that now. Like, I never thought I'd be one of those people who like, I have a winter and a summer shade, but now being outside a lot more, I do need a winter and summer shade, but I think I was a little too hasty to switch to my winter shade because it's still a little light on me. Okay, base makeup is done. Now, like I said, I made the mistake of thinking the highlighters were blushes. I don't know, I still kind of want to go nuts and use this purple highlighter as a blush, especially because I ended up going so subtle with the eye look. I kind of want something that pops a little bit, so yeah. I'm just gonna go for it. What the heck? I always have to remember that for whatever reason, this cheek takes the product a lot faster than this cheek. So with this cheek, I had to kind of build up the product, whereas this one's like one swipe was more than enough. But I mean, it looks a little crazy, but I kind of like it. I'll have to try this as a highlighter in another look, but as it is right now, I like it, especially going into fall time. I think this is kind of cute. But I think I'm gonna try the other highlighter as an actual highlighter because this would be too light as a blush shade on me. That is really pretty. I think it's a little too intense of a highlight to use on the nose. I kind of looked like a space clown for a little bit, but what the hell. Now onto the lip products. I'm pretty much gonna try all of them on my lips. I think I'm gonna do the glosses first, just in case the blotted lips stain at all. So up first we have Pretty Guardian. Ooh, I really like this. I've always been like a ride or die gloss girl. Even though I like all lipsticks in general, honestly, it's the first makeup category I really got into was lipsticks. But lip glosses in particular are my love, my go-to. And I really like this. I was kind of worried because it was kind of like milky yellow toned in the tube that it would come off as milky, because that's kind of the one thing about glosses that don't look the greatest on me is those kind of like really white based milky glosses, but this is nice. Next up we have Transformation. Alright, on my lips at least, the green flecks are a lot more subtle, but that could also be because my lips have a lot of pigmentation to them. I think you can kind of even see on camera, my lips are like only pinkish on the inside, whereas I have this kind of like brown, gray, kind of natural outline to my lips, and they're both areas have a lot of pigmentation already. So it tends to drown out any kind of pigmentation I get from lipsticks. And that's how I know like a lipstick has a lot of pigmentation on it, when it's able to have a full impact even on my lips. At least for this look, I'm kind of glad the green flecks are a little subtler, just because I feel like if it were more obvious, the green reflection would clash with what I've got over here. Alrighty, I just refreshed my lips with some Truly Beauty lip balm, and now I'm gonna get on to the blotted lips. I'm gonna start with the brown one, Sailor Fuku. See what I just said about my lips absorbing a lot of pigment? Granted, the ultra blotted lips are kind of on the sheer side. I feel like they're right in between being like, not even a gloss, but it's like between like a satin and then like a full pigmented liquid lipstick. I'm still kind of curious though, what are the lip glosses gonna look like on top of the blotted lip? Okay, the green shimmers are a lot more visible once it has the blotted lip as a base underneath. I still don't know how I feel about the pairing. It's a little more natural than I thought it would be. The green flecks don't like stand out with the round lip, but it's still, something about it still doesn't look right. Alrighty, onto the final blotted lip, Sailor Star. Like I said, pinks and magentas, they look kind of crazy on me. Normally, like I said, with blotted lips, normally I would apply maybe just a little bit on the inner lip and just blot it out with my finger, but I figure for the camera, I wanted to like apply it full on just so you get the best sense of the color. It's definitely a stronger pigment, obviously, because you can see it more on my lips as opposed to the brown one. This is like tempting me to pull out my other ultra blotted lips because I forgot how nice these feel. It's very moisturizing. And then just for the heck of it, I'm gonna try this gloss on top of it, Pretty Guardian from the same duo. On one hand, I really love combining liquid lipsticks and then putting glosses on top because it just reminds me of the old days. Those lip duos that they used to, actually one size has those out now, but I hate that like you get residual product of whatever is from the liquid lipstick onto the gloss, because I already tried removing as much as possible with like tissue and a cotton pad, but it still like always wants to stick to the edge. But I like this combo a lot more. I do feel though when I applied the gloss, it picked up some of the ultra blotted lip and kind of moved it around or kind of started to cause it to fade already. So that's probably the one downside I would say to like using these as like a true lip combo. Final thoughts, I have to say, first impression, my favorite products would probably be like the lip glosses and the highlighters. I definitely liked the shades I tried in the eyeshadow palette, but just because, like I said, Colourpop has been changing up their eyeshadow formulas, especially when when it comes to collab palettes. So I think I would definitely want to play around more with the other shades just to see like which formula I'm working with here. Ultra blotted lips were like a second favorite. Wouldn't put it like right at the top just because, like I said, I'm just more of a gloss girl. That's my personal bias. And then the cream liners, I've got to try them in a different look. I just couldn't on top of the gloss. Speaking of the face gloss, now that I'm thinking about it, I do kind of still feel like a heavy something something on my lids, but I did kind of forget about it after a little bit. So maybe I'm just not used to the feeling. It's not like super uncomfortable overall. But yeah, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know, did you pick up anything from the Sailor Moon Colourpop second collection? Do you have anything from the first collection? I know they are restocking the first collection, or they occasionally restock it once in a while anyways. So hopefully like both collections won't be too hard to pick up if you want it, but then just want to wait a while for a little bit, just because I know like Colourpop collabs can like come and go really quickly. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.